Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm playing Endless Legend, a game made by Amplitude, the same people who brought everyone Endless Space, and also the authors of Dungeon of the Endless. Now, Dungeon of the Endless and Endless Legend, these are both in alphas on the Steam marketplace. I will provide links to all three of these games. Now, Endless Legend is pretty much taking Endless Space and bringing it to a very fantasy world. Now, some people, I'm sure, are probably going to think, well, what's this going to do? It's simply going to be a clone, but in fantasy form. I know what you're saying. I was a little skeptical at first, but the way in which this game actually does it, the way in which Amplitude have done it, is absolutely amazing. Even though it's alpha, the amount of detail you already have in this, I find just brilliant. The thing is that, yes, in a way it is a clone. You do have dust as a resource and all that malarkey. But the fact being is that that isn't it. They also give you so much. There's lore in this, which is just... whoa. I'm not going to say the lore is the best I've ever seen, but it's definitely up there with what I consider the better of the ones that I have actually seen. And they've actually gone into designing the races rather well. For example, we have these wild walkers. I describe them very much as almost like elves, I'd suppose. These guys are very much one with the earth, I'd say. They tend to be able to create well, this is probably a way of explaining it. They're Tene Walker. These incarnations of the powers of the forest followed the wild walkers when they emigrated from the vast woods of Uriga to the cities of the plains. Symbol of the origins of the wild walkers, they are also powerful frontline fighters. They seem to be able to imbue magic in order to create living creatures from what you would not expect. Now, never played these guys, but from what I have seen of them, I've never actually seen them in the game, they are actually rather difficult to fight against. You're better off using diplomacy, in all honesty. Now, you have these broken lords. The way in which I best describe them are wraiths clad in armour. The reason why I say wraith is, even though they seem to have a physical form, under that armour they are literally just an energy being. They have a very strong affinity for the dust, by which I mean they survive by eating it. And through doing that over the eons, they seem to have lost their bodies, and so they're clad in this armour. I like these guys. They're very imperialistic, I'd say. Volters, probably the closest thing to proper, true humans in this game. Remind me very much like the nomad clans in Northern Asia and Eastern Europe. Sort of Attila the Hun idea. It seems like their main unit is actually ranged, which is interesting, but they also seem to have a grasp of ancient relics of machines and magic, such as the Titan here. Necrophages, probably the most unusual, or one of the most unusual races in this game. They are an insectoid-like species that like to completely annihilate and enslave the enemy. And if they enslave you, you're not going to be along for long. You'll eventually be annihilated. Yeah, moving on. Ardent Mages. These guys, they remind me so heavily of I think it's the Tyva Imperium from Dragon Age, basically because it seems like mages are, or people with actually the use of magic, are the ones who actually control society completely, and it doesn't matter how they do it. They use their anger in order to expand in all ways, in terms of technology, in terms of magical power, and they do have a long history of slaughtering and starvation. Okay, roving clans. These guys are pretty much almost like the Venice of this world. They are ones that specialize in economy. So if you play this people, you're not going to be very much of a war species, or empire actually. You're going to be very much focusing on making money. Now, Draken, these guys to me look a lot like Dragonkin, and surprisingly enough, even though they look like they'd be fantastic warriors, apparently their more preferred victory type is actually diplomacy, which kind of makes sense in a way, because dragons are always supposed to be ancient and wise. And so when you think about it, for a dragonkin looking creature such as the Draken, it kind of falls into the category, although I still have to say I would, in all honesty, thought that, you know, they will be much better as like a warmongering species. Next you have the cultists. These guys are rather creepy. They remind me of like these really old wooden dolls you used to get ages ago. I'm not talking within like the last century. I think I'm going back to like Victorian era for that. They seem to be almost like remnants of the Endless that once were on the planet, and now these people, or rather the cultists, now seek the destruction of their former masters. Rather creepy in so many ways. I don't exactly want to encounter these guys in the dark. And then you have a random. And you can customize your own faction, which is what I will be doing today. Now, Affinity Draken. Oh, name. Oof. It's always the annoying thing, thinking of the name. Look at me, I thought about doing this, and now look at me, I'm sputtering, I can't think of something. Okay, think about it. You know, this is going to be a very boring episode if all I'm doing is thinking. Now I want something to go along with it. The name of faction. Union of Old Ones. Probably not exactly a good thing, but what the heck, I kinda like it in the end. Okay. Empire in the plan. Now, we've got traits we can give. Naive. Well connected. Make trade, not war. Keys to the market. Can use the market ban option. Prevents to be the target of insider trading. Starting technology. It's nice that they can actually... Oh, what's this? Conversion. Knowledge of the rights of the cultists and fanatical belief in the Queen's purpose permits the conversion of pacified villages. Converted villages are lost for their original owner. Give all advantages of pacified villages to the new owner, no matter their location. Will exploit fields, I think that is, on the tile and the 6 tiles around the main city of the new owner. Regularly spawn new unit, not retrofittable for the new owner. Okay, so that could be beneficial, but that does take an awful lot right off the bat, so I don't think I like the idea of that. Okay, winter shelters. By resurrecting dormant, though not for subterranean archaea, winter food reduction immunity. That would be useful. Endless recycling. Clever engineers, nimble hands. Deep generator. Harnessing the mighty power of timeless fires of the deep. Ooh, I love how this just seems to be around. Arcana of authority. Deep generator. Demanding gods. Hunger for food recognition can drive one to extreme behavior. Moving on, I think we'll just go over here. Optimal defense improves the defense of the units. Offense burst. Meticulous analysis. Ooh, that would be useful. Fast travelers, big armies, anarchists. That would be useful. Okay, moving on to economy. Coal of the hero. There are so many different ways to raise taxes. Dust efficient endless excavation. That would be useful. Living towns. Wild Walker's craft was to grow rocks and trees into great buildings, creating living towns of green towers, which within the green forests. Ooh, no, I don't like that. Weapons of the enemy. Discovered by the leads of the cult insist that enemy sims, when taken, be turned into usable resources for the cult rather than simply burned to the ground. It's a nice idea, but I don't actually think I like it. Knack for knowledge. I like that. Spendthrifts -10 on cities. That literally must knock that out, won't it? I can't believe this, really. Why is it taking so long to create a species? Okay, we'll go with that. Oh, look at me, I can't even spell that right. Being a little too quick for my own good today. Okay, that'll be a nice one. Validate. There we are, we have the Union of Old Ones. Select. Okay, we are the Union of Old Ones. Okay, I would like to see the Broken Lords, some Volters, Cultists, Ardent, Roving Clans, and ooh, what will be the last one? What will be the last one? I like the idea of Wild Walkers. Oh, not the last one. Okay, let's have the Cultists. Okay, let's start a game. Now, I will say that this game, while it is in alpha, it does have quite a few interesting things. Every now and then you will come across a small bug, but so far, in the time I have spent playing this game, probably closing on maybe 4-6 hours, maybe 8 hours by the time I'm doing this, probably a lot more by the time this is uploaded. Now, I have not come across any major bugs. I have not come across any that cause the game to crash or actually interfere with the gameplay. It seems that all of the ones I've come across so far at the moment have been like ones that you won't really interfere with. I have not tried multiplayer so far because I seem to be the only one amongst my friends who actually has this game. Reason why? They're probably still playing Civilization 5. I will say another thing, this game has quite a few similarities with Civilization 5, but there are also so many differences that make this game, in my personal opinion, so much better than Civilization 5. I remember playing Civilization 5, I would get a little bored after a little bit, I would save the game and I would leave and play something else. Now this game, I have found it rather difficult to do that, and so far the only reason that I have saved this game to walk away was usually because of lunch, dinner, breakfast or bed. Yes, I do play a little computer before I go for breakfast. Just happens every now and then. Okay, it looks like we're nearly ready to play the game. I can't believe it. I've spent roughly about 15 minutes at this point simply setting up the game. Well, at least when people see this, they'll actually have an idea of how to set up the game. Oh, now, that was very surprising, ladies and gentlemen, because from what I have seen so far, whenever I play a species, I actually got this little bit of an introduction video. It seems like that for the Draken, there isn't one at the moment. Either that, or it was because I'm playing as a custom species. In which case, it's actually rather understandable. I love the way he walks. Get founders. Okay, you have research. This is the research tree. Now, the research tree, I would say, shares some similarities with endless space, but you can it is very easy to distinguish it. Oh, look at that. Emissaries of minor factions create a small council to learn each other's ways and study Draken ways. Improved integration and understanding are the result. Oh, that's fantastic. Ancient. And that's a support unit. Okay, first of all, I'll go with an assimilation slot. These things are... No, I don't think they are. Okay, go with these two afterward, because that will actually allow me to do a few things. Seed storage. Now, one thing about this game that I think everyone needs to know is that there are 2 seasons in this game. Yeah, no matter where you are in the world, you'll have 2 seasons. These will affect you heavily. Now, at the moment, we're in summer. Summer, as you can imagine, is the blissful time where you don't actually have any major issues. That was weird. Never had a joke like that before. Now, yeah, so in summer, you've not actually got that many issues. It's simple as, well, you get pluses instead of negatives. When winter comes along, winter is a lot shorter than summer. Ah, here we are, minor faction, the Silix. Now, these guys are part of a minor village. Now, these you can assimilate, but you have to pacify them first. You can pacify by buying them, by doing a quest for them, or by attacking and defeating them. Now, when you pacify these, they will no longer spawn units that will sprawl amongst your land. You can see here, I own this land. When you pacify them, and if they're actually in your territory when you pacify them, or actually if they're just in your territory at that time, then what... Ah, look at that, I can already get a burrow. Now what will happen is when you pacify them, you'll get access to them as a unit. Now that can be incredibly useful, because those Silix, they are very strong in terms of brute strength. So having them in the army is almost like a bludgeoning tool. Very good idea. Here's another minor faction, the Sisters of Mercy. This is their city here. Now, every province, or whatever you want to call this, they each have one type of minor race that live in there. So, over here, in this one, it's the Silix. Over here, it's the Sisters of Mercy. However, that does not limit them to one city. The most I've ever seen in a single province is 3 cities. That's when I was playing as the Broken Lords. Shouldn't actually have much of an effect, but just for the information here. Now, as you can see, I've unlocked the Raven. I apologise if I'm mispronouncing that. I've never been one for actually pronouncing unfamiliar words that well. Now, this game does share a few more similarities with Endless Space, such as you actually buy heroes and you can assign them as leaders of armies or space fleets in Endless Space, or you can assign them as governors to a province. At the moment, I'm having this guy scout around the province. He will Now, when you tell them to scout, they will only scout inside your territory. They will stop when there's nothing left in your territory to scout. I'm not sure if that's going to change or not. There's still room for improvement. After all, it's only in the alpha. Search location was worth the effort. See? 30 dust. It's always useful. I get a little money boost. Sometimes it's not always money. Sometimes you actually get yourself an artifact you can equip with your leaders. The heroes. Okay, that's it for the first episode. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And boys and girls, if there are any. If you liked, please subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like me to see, please put them in the comment section. I am incredibly grateful for any positive feedback. And also, I do like reading some pretty positive comments in the end. It's just a personal thing. I'm sure everyone's like that. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and see you next episode.